So one of the things that happens at all of these Trump speeches, like almost all of them, peak level delusion. Donald Trump talks about his body and he says that he thinks he's better looking than certain people. He goes, my body's better than Biden's. My body's better than Obama's. I'm not making this up. I'm better looking than Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, of course, Donald Trump is peak malignant narcissist. But again, this is just some bizarre, strange, childish, no offense to children, behavior. Like, take a look at this. First off, let me show you this photo right here of Barack Obama, and let me show you Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump, you do not have a better body. You're not better looking. But why do you bring this up in all of your speeches? Like, again, over the weekend when Donald Trump gave that speech in Butler, Pennsylvania, he goes, I'm much healthier than Obama. Here, watch this.
In the White House, the press, the fake news media said, who is the most? He was the doctor for Obama, Bush, and Trump. That's pretty good, right? White House doctor for the three of us. He said, the press, who is the healthiest of the three? He said, definitely it's Donald Trump. There's not even a contest. And I love that guy. When he said that, JD, when he said that, I said, I like this guy. So then he said, you know, sir, he was leaving the White House. He said, you know, I'd love to run for Congress. And he ran against 28 people. They were all running for the Republican primary because whoever won that primary is going to win. I think it's a Trump plus 48. Whoever wins gets 48 point start. And not only did he win, he won easily. And now he's one of the most popular people in Congress and one of the most talented, maybe more importantly. Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie.
And again, that's not just like a fluke. That is an attribute in each of his speeches. Like, remember when Donald Trump was previously in Pennsylvania and he gave that speech where he said that he was better looking than Vice President Kamala Harris? This was kind of in the early days where she became the presumptive Democratic nominee. Trump was going around saying, I'm better looking than her. That was part of his campaign. Here, play this clip.
Okay. She called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's not, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala. No, I couldn't believe it. She said, you know, I had never heard that one. They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is. In her speech yesterday,
he did the same thing with President Biden. He was obsessed with the fact that President Biden would be on the beach with his shirt off. And then Donald Trump would always say, why is his shirt off? He's ugly. I have a much better body. Here, watch Donald Trump say it. This was in Iowa. Play this clip.
He's got a consultant somewhere. This is the worst consultant in politics that thinks he looks good in a bathing suit, right? No, he spends so much time at the beach. You know, how do you do that? And, you know, I have a much better body than him. But I'm not really sure that I want to expose it with the sun blaring down, the sand, the surf, the wind, you know. It's not a pretty sight. And
now, the point about bringing this up is, yes, we could reflect Donald Trump is delusional, he's a malignant narcissist, but this is the way that dictators play him. All you have to do if you're trying to curry favor and influence is just say to him, oh, you're very strong, oh, by the way, can you do this for me? And then Donald Trump would sell anybody out for his own vanity. I want to remind you of this. Remember Dr. Harold Bornstein? He passed away at the age of 73, but he was Trump's personal physician. And this should have been one of the biggest warning signs, but MeidasTouch wasn't around in 2015. If it was, we would have been talking about this all the time. Remember when Bornstein, when like most presidential candidates, and all of them, actually released detailed doctor reports? Like President Biden had like, what was it, 12-page report that went down to blood levels and this and hemoglobin and all that, went through everything in significant detail, the full physical, it was all out there. Here's what Donald Trump had Dr. Bornstein say in 2015. It's short, 3 sentences. This was the report. If elected, I can unequivocally state Donald Trump would be the healthiest individual ever elected presidency. That's what Bornstein said. But then do you remember what we learned about Bornstein? Bornstein then told CNN that Donald Trump sent his personal bodyguards, basically roughed up Bornstein, and then stole the medical, what technically belongs to Donald Trump, but confiscated the medical records from Bornstein's office before he passed away. CNN reported about this back in 2018. Play this clip.
Exactly what they looking for?
All his medical records, his pictures, anything they could find. We must have been here for 25 or 30 minutes. We created a lot of chaos. I couldn't believe anybody was making a big deal about a drug that's to grow his hair, which seemed to be so important. And it certainly is not a breach of medical trust to tell somebody they take Propecia to grow their hair. What's the matter with that?
And then here is Trump's Dr. Harold Bornstein talking about, again, being raided by Trump's bodyguard, Keith Schiller's. The first one was CNN, talking about how Donald Trump dictated the whole letter. Actually, it came from Trump. And here's what Bornstein said about the raid. Here, play this clip.
We ran into Dr. Harold Bornstein right outside his office on Park Avenue, and he told us in no uncertain terms, and this is the quote, Aaron, he being Trump, he dictated that whole letter. I didn't write that letter, meaning that Trump dictated what he wanted to go into it, and essentially Bornstein wrote it up. He did say, he compared it to the movie Fargo, and he said it takes the truth and moves it in a different direction. Think about that. Now, Bornstein tells us that he was in a car with his wife when he was on the phone with then candidate Trump in December of 2015. And she was going through with Trump what he could say and what he couldn't say. Trump was dictating what he wanted in that letter. And Bornstein was saying, OK, you can say that. You can't say that. He then came here to the office. He wrote it up. Trump's office later picked it up. He said around 4 p.m. Aaron, we have reached out to the White House, but we have not gotten a response.
All right, so that's pretty incredible in and of itself. You also now, Alex, Bornstein is saying he was, quote unquote, robbed of the president's medical files. He spoke to you particularly about this encounter. What did he tell you?
Right, so he is saying this is a raid. Bornstein is saying that he was robbed. I specifically asked him, was a crime committed? He said they stole them, referring to the president's medical files. The they in that sentence are 2 men under the president's employ. The first, as you mentioned, is Keith Schiller, who was the president's longtime bodyguard here in New York. He then moved down to Washington with the president, worked in the White House as the head of Oval Office operations. The other person we understand is Alan Garten, who is an attorney for the Trump Organization. Now, Aaron, normally when you have medical records released, you need what's called a HIPAA release. We understand from Bornstein, he told us this afternoon, that was not signed. Instead, he says these 2 men barged through the back door, terrified the secretary, pushed aside the patient who was in there. Now, the White House is not contesting that they took possession of these medical files, but they are saying that it was not a raid. Instead, Aaron, they're saying that this was just standard operating procedure. Aaron.
Are you feeling sluggish, low energy, and unfocused? Your body might be telling you it needs a deep clean. Prolon by L Nutra is a scientifically backed fasting mimicking diet designed to clean out the cobwebs on a cellular level. Just 5 days can make a meaningful difference in your overall health. Introducing Prolon. It's a revolutionary plant-based nutrition program that nourishes the body while making cells believe they're fasting. Researched and developed at the University of Southern California Longevity Institute, Prolon helps promote healthy blood sugar. It supports cardiovascular health and reduces abdominal fat. Prolon isn't a diet. It's science-based on Nobel Prize-winning discoveries in medicine. The 5-day program, it includes snacks, soups, and beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. It's unlike anything you've experienced. I did the 5-day program. I can tell you that it made all the difference in the world to me, and I've gotten so many positive reviews from the Midas Mighty out there. Prolon really isn't like any other diet I've tried. It's convenient. They sent me everything. It's all in one box. Right now, Prolon is offering the MeidasTouch podcast listeners like you 15% off their 5-day day nutrition program. Go to prolonlife.com/Meidas. That's PROLONLIFE.com, prolonlife.com/Meidas for this special offer. That's prolonlife.com/Meidas. Check it out. And again, just to show you Donald Trump's speeches right now, that this is all he talks about, or what he was talking about before. Biden at the beach. This is what Donald Trump's here. Some consultant thinks it's a good luck for Biden to be at the beach. I don't think he looks physically good. Here, play the clip.
This consultant thinks it's a good look for him to be at a beach at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I don't think that looks too good, Matt, right? You know, we want somebody that works a little bit like I worked hard. But, you know, we want a working president. Also,
here was Donald Trump speaking to Tucker Carlson. Play the clip.
You don't think he's going to make it to November of 2024?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks. He can't lift his feet out of the grass. You know, it's only 2 inches at the White House, right? It's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. You know, those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces. Yeah. You lift them up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be working.
And just a reminder, this is what Donald Trump would say about women. This is how he referred to Rosie O'Donnell leading up to the 2016 campaign. Play this clip.
If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. We're all a little chubby, but Rosie's just worse than most of us. But it's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person, both inside and...
Here's what Donald Trump said about Chris Christie. And there's hundreds of clips where he says this about Chris Christie and other people who are overweight. Play this clip.
Who's good? No, Christie's, he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him. See, I'm trying to be nice. Don't call him a fat pig. You can't do it. You can't do that. So now, because you're not allowed to do that, and therefore we're not going to do it, okay? We want to be very civil, right? So, the latest...
But now, here's how Donald Trump talks about his own daughter, Ivanka. Play this clip.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that to her.
If I weren't happily married and, you know, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass. Yeah. She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous. She's tall. She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
And again, I know corporate media never covered this. So now, like the New York Times headlines are all, Donald Trump's speeches are getting increasingly unhinged, wondering if he's in cognitive decline. Look, this was 5 months ago? He was posting photos of like his face next to Elvis's face and then writing, for so many years, people have been saying that Elvis and I look alike. Now this pic has been going all over the place. What do you think? No, it hasn't at all. Or Donald Trump posting this. The fake news used artificial intelligence, AI, to create the picture on the top left. These are despicable people, but everyone knows that. The other pictures are me hitting golf balls today to show the difference. Sadly, in our country, fake news is all you get. What are we doing here? Then all of his like cult followers bring stuff like this to the events. Like he has his cult bring these cardboard cutouts, magacutouts.com. he's lending his name, image, and likeness for this stuff. Also, with those NFTs that make his body look like it's a different person. Defender of pets, and they have him like with a six-pack and ripped arms. That's not what he looks like at all. And then his cult followers bring that. This is like Kim Jong-un stuff, right? Like when Kim Jong-un would have the photos of himself looking like actually he doesn't look. And then Donald Trump would give these speeches. Like here's the one he gave recently on Long Island, where he goes, "I'm the greatest of all time, even better than Elvis." Here, play this clip.
So I'd call up my wife and I'd say, "Baby, who could draw crowds? Nobody can draw crowds like me. Nobody, not even close. I'm the greatest of all time, maybe greater even than Elvis, because Elvis had a guitar. I don't have a guitar. Elvis had a guitar. I don't have the privilege of a guitar."
You know, and so fundamentally here, you know, I want to point out that this is odd and bizarre. I want to show you the pattern here, that this isn't just something he said when he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, but this happens at all of his speeches over and over and over again. But also, this is how you can manipulate him very, very easily if you're a foreign leader, because he's mentally unwell. And I hope when I show you this video, you can recognize those signs, because I don't care, again, whatever your political affiliation or political party, to me, for this election, that doesn't matter. What matters is normalcy, is competence, supporting our democracy, but having your mental faculties there. And he clearly just doesn't. He's clearly just a sick person. And you see it there. As this one account says, of the 972,000 lies he's told in 8 years, this one might be bigger than his. And again, Obama, and here's Donald Trump. You see for yourself anyway. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.